everyone, welcome back to the F Factor Kitchen series. My name is Tanya Zuckerbrot and I'm a registered dietitian, and today we are celebrating Cinco de Mayo. For those of you not familiar with the holiday, Cinco de Mayo commemorates the victory of the Mexican army against the French Empire in 1862. So to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, I want to whip up some classic Mexican dishes, but with an F Factor twist, which means they're going to be high in fiber and low in net carbs to keep you fueled, but to make sure you can burn fat for fuel while enjoying this amazing holiday. Now, what is more Mexican than guacamole and chips? The issue is that traditional tortilla chips have no fiber and they are deep fried, which means that they're loaded with fat. And while guacamole itself is a healthy food, it has almost no protein and only 4 grams of fiber. So I'm going to bump up the nutrition of both those classic dishes and make them F Factor approved. Today we are making F Factor lime spiced baked tortilla chips loaded with fiber and bursting with flavor, and we're going to pair them with F Factor guacamole that's high in fiber and high in protein and actually sneaks in a vegetable that you would never guess. This guacamole is so creamy and so nutrient dense. I promise it's going to be your new favorite guacamole recipe. The best part is, while our chips are baking, we're going to use that time to make the guacamole. So you'll see we get 2 recipes done in a really short period of time. So you guys ready to get started? It is so simple to make homemade tortilla chips, and it involves no frying whatsoever. We're going to bake them, which saves hundreds of calories from fat because we are not deep frying them. The most important ingredient in tortilla chips that are healthy and high in fiber is to begin with a high fiber, low carb tortilla. There are 2 brands that I particularly love. One is called Olay and the other is Mission Carb Balance. The Olay tortillas are only 50 calories, 15 grams of carbs, but 11 grams of fiber, so they're only 4 gram net carb. That's a super low carb tortilla, and yet you're getting 11 grams of fiber. Fiber revs up your metabolism and keeps you feeling full. So unlike traditional tortilla chips, where you're hungry an hour later, these tortilla chips are actually going to keep you feeling full for hours. The other brand I love is Mission. And while these are a little bit higher in calories, they're 70 calories, these have 15 grams of fiber and only 3 gram net carb. 3 gram net carb for tortilla chips, amazing. This recipe serves 4 people, so I'm going to take 4 tortillas, 1 tortilla per person, which will cut into 8 tortilla chips. So each person's going to get 8 chips. Each serving is going to be less than 100 calories, and they're going to get 15 grams of fiber. So you're going to place 4 tortillas on a cutting board, and now it's time to make them spicy with a hint of lime. In a bowl, place 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. You can use canola oil, olive oil, anything you have on hand. And now we're going to add the spices. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of chili powder. This is going to give it a little bit of a kick. And next, 1 teaspoon of cumin. There is just something about cumin. It is one of my favorite spices to cook with. We're going to add a teaspoon to our seasoning mix. Cumin is used traditionally in Mexican recipes, and it has anti-inflammatory and antiviral properties. So it's super healthy as well as super flavorful. And last but not least, we're going to add a teaspoon of kosher salt. At this point, you can decide if you want to add lime or not to make them lime spice chips. Some people like the taste of lime, other people don't, so you can omit this, but I think it really balances the other spices really nicely and gives it a really fresh, bright flavor. So I'm going to add half a lime. Add the juice of half a lime. So to review, we have 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and the juice of half a lime. And we're just going to mix this together. And this is what we're going to use to coat our tortillas. So I have the 4 tortillas here, and I'm going to take a tablespoon and spread it out, and then with a brush, I'm going to coat each tortilla. And then I'm going to lay the next tortilla on top and repeat the process. Now that the tortillas are covered top and bottom with the spice mix, it's time to cut them into tortilla chips. We're going to cut them into 8s. First you cut down the middle, and now you're going to cut down the middle the other way. And now we're going to cut them into 8s. And there you have it, the perfect tortilla chip. All that's left to do is lay them down on the baking sheet. Now we're going to transfer these to a baking sheet. I have a silk pat liner. Alternatively, you can just use parchment paper. And we're just going to lay them down here and put them in the oven. There you have the tortilla chips. These are now going into an oven that has been preheated to 350 degrees, and these will bake for 15 minutes. Halfway through, at around 7 minutes, just turn the tray to make sure that they bake evenly. While the tortilla chips are baking, we are now going to move on to the F-Factor guacamole. That's what I love so much about these two recipes, is that we can utilize the baking time to get the other recipe going. So we're going to get 2 recipes in the time it traditionally takes to make one. So I'm going to clear off my counter so I can get ready for the F-Factor guacamole, which is the creamiest, most high fiber, high protein guacamole you will ever taste in your life. Traditional guacamole has only 4 grams of fiber and 1 gram of protein. Today I'm going to share with you some hacks to make guacamole completely F-Factor proof by bumping up the fiber and the protein with 2-star ingredients, and here's a hint for one. I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to start the guacamole in the traditional manner, which of course is to use avocados. Avocados are super healthy fat. It's a monounsaturated fat, which increases your good cholesterol and lowers your bad cholesterol, and it's also a good source of fiber. Now, people get confused sometimes how to get the avocado meat out of the avocado. Should you peel it? Don't peel it. All you want to do is get a ripe avocado, make sure it's soft to the touch, get a knife, and just run it around the perimeter. Okay? And then you're just going to twist it. Ta-da! That's all. And now with a knife, to get the pit out, don't use a spoon, just use a knife. You're going to dig the knife in and twist it, and out pops the seed. So we're going to put that aside, the seed, the pit, there it goes. And look how gorgeous this avocado is. And all I need to do is take a spoon and go around the skin, and you'll see it literally pops right out. Once the 2 avocados in the bowl, you're just going to take a large fork and mash them up. Once your avocado is mashed, you're going to add the remaining ingredients. You're going to add 1/3 of a cup of diced tomato. Next up, 1/3 of a cup of a diced purple onion. And now you can either use lemon or lime. They both work great in guacamole, but sticking with the Mexican theme, I'm going to use lime since I have it on hand. But if you don't have lime, you can add fresh lemon juice to your avocado. You just want a tart, ripe citrus flavor. So I'm going to add the juice of 1 fresh lime and a pinch of salt. Okay, and now we're going to mix this together. Now at this point, this would be traditional guacamole, but because we only use 2 avocados, it's not going to feed that many people, which is why a larger recipe would call for 4 avocados, but that would really bump up the fat and calories. So to get more volume, I have a hack. I'm going to take a pound of asparagus. It's green like the avocado, but it's lower in fat and much higher in fiber. To prepare the asparagus, all you need to do is cut off the ends and then cut the asparagus into 2-inch pieces, place it into a pot with a few inches of boiling water and cook for 3 to 5 minutes until it's softened and a really bright green. And here you go. You can see it matches the color of the avocado. This is gonna add a ton of volume and more fiber. And next we're going to add our superhero ingredient, F Factor 2020 Fiber Protein Powder and unflavored. This is not only going to bump up the fiber and protein, but it's going to make it so creamy. I'm going to add 2 scoops to my asparagus. That is going to add 20 grams of fiber and 20 grams of protein. As I said earlier, traditional guacamole only has 4 grams of fiber. F Factor's guacamole has 18 grams of fiber and 16 grams of protein, whereas traditional guacamole has only 1 gram. So 2 scoops of powder with your 1 pound of cooked asparagus. I'm going to put this into the blender and we're going to puree it. All right guys, it was a little thick, so I came back and added a tablespoon of water. Let's see if this now blends. That did the trick. So here I have my pureed asparagus with the 2 scoops of powder, and I'm gonna add it to my guacamole. So here you could see our super creamy guacamole. You just want to taste it for seasoning. So good. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt and pepper just to kick it up a notch. And if you like your guacamole spicy, you could add a little bit of chili pepper as well. Look at this gorgeous bright green color. You guys, this is the best guacamole I've ever had in my life. And I haven't even paired it with my chips yet. So excited. My chips look amazing and they are super crunchy. These taste like they were deep fried because they're so crispy, and yet these are baked. No one will believe that these are healthy chips. And just to finish it off, we're gonna use the juice of half a lime, which will really brighten these up. Perfect. Now it's time to plate. Now to finish it, we will just take some fresh cilantro. You can just put it on top, make it super pretty. I love cilantro. You also could add cilantro to your guacamole, but this way it's a little bit more traditional. I'm going to take one of my high fiber, low carb, lime spice F Factor baked tortilla chips and dip it into this F Factor, high fiber, high protein guacamole. You guys, this is the creamiest guacamole I've ever tasted in my life. No one would ever guess that there's asparagus in there to bump up the fiber and the antioxidants and the vitamins. The F Factor protein powder makes it super creamy, yet it adds no carbs and it bumps up the protein to 16 grams and bumps up the fiber to 18 grams. It's gorgeous. You can serve it with more crudité or tortilla chips. pair it with a margarita, and you are going to be the hit of Cinco de Mayo this year. Olé.